Good morning. Good morning. 7:29 in Chicago. How's everybody doing? I hope you had a good weekend. We got a lot of stuff. I'm just going to talk about futures here. So what's going on? All right. There's a few stocks moving around here, but we got to keep our wits about ourselves on this. All right. So a little bit of move to the upside now. We kind of got a little bit of overnight. I didn't see all the news, but they bombed the hell out of somebody, and now the markets are better. All right, crude is still higher. Okay, so don't go getting crazy. Taking a quick look here at the crude. All right, up 1.37% today to start the day. Kind of quiet. All right. Compared to where we were finishing out on Friday. Things were pretty bleak. I think things are still pretty bleak, okay? All right, so slash on the CL, just a little bit higher here this morning, all right? And then we'll look at the BZs. This one's 107.33 now, and this one is down up almost 2% today on the BZs coming back up. All right, so we'll see what shakes out there with crude higher. All right, WTI starts to back off a little bit here on WTI. Comes back inside on the 4-hour. Keep an eye on this 4-hour. All right, this will flip at 8 a.m. All right, so we'll see if anything happens there. So WTI coming back down a little bit. And UCO back down to 42.44. UCO. All right, so UCO, what do we got there? 42.42. 44 and a quarter yesterday, so coming back down from yesterday's highs were 42.61. I believe we're still inside day, handily still inside day on the crude. All right, futures are all, and I mean all, stuck inside day. All right, so we look at SPY, right? Okay, so SPY, we're going to have to get up to 642.66 to take that day back up. All right, 642.66. Now, we are getting a little bit better here, but I'll tell you, they've been moving to the upside. I don't know. Watch out. Watch out. All right, so coming back up on the 4-hour right now, watching the 4-hour. That's the one that I'm watching here since this morning. So it's made a move here. It's made a little bit of a move from 634. So it's up about $4 and change. So better here. All right, but you still got all of this. You got all of this. Now, you are going to get the new inside week in here, all right? And there was very little room for Sneaky Pete to even get in there, but 613.9 right now, okay? So when you look at it in the big scheme of things, guys, this is where we are, right about 639 right now, all right? So don't go chasing waterfalls, okay? I wanted to look at this on the daily. Looking across the board here. So this is the move that we made down here. I want to make a point of what happened here. All right, so this is a 222 down, right? The 222 down, all right? So exhaustion and risk to the downside for sure, okay? And I was thinking about that over the weekend. I'm like, okay, they've smacked these things pretty good. This 3 straight days with the gappers, that's telling. And I remember some time back, I'm not sure how far back, but we had a gap where we went 3-day up. And I'm trying to find that chart. I'm going to find that chart. We had like a 3-day up, and then we triangled out a good part of it, all right, about half of it, all right. So coming back up here, all right, you're still going to have a lot of trouble, all right. So magnitudes are what we're going to be watching, okay. I'm looking at this disruption right here that occurred in on July 30th of 2025. This was a breakdown here. I call it a disruption because it created change. All right. It created change with this 2-2 down. There was a gap in there too. All right. And this was a 3-2 downer. And then it triggered. But look what happened. Triangle out again. All right. So what I'm trying to say here is I think maybe we get some kind of rally here, like even bigger rally. Maybe even we take out this high of this day. We might get that move back up to the upside. That's that fool's gold, all right? The fool's gold rally, all right? So we would be again looking from the down one here, got the move back up, and then they puked it out again, all right? So we'll see what happens today. The bigger picture that we have is that we have a new month coming in, and we got a new quarter coming in. All right, so if you get the quarter to come in on green, we might get a chance for a little run sheep run. I would say that run sheep run, protect your positions. All right, just protect. If you're going to be getting in there, because you see all of a sudden the futures are hopping up again, everything looks like it's great, that's fine. All right. But what I'm saying is that I just want to say if you're going to be getting involved in the futures here, all right, be very protected, okay? So, again, with this disruption here, and you could see we came into this, all right here. So, right around here, I was looking at this one trying to break this low, which was 630.77. Now, we were close. We were at 630. We went down to 630 last night. I was watching them. All right. We busted down to 630, and then they turned around and rallied because we bombed somebody. All right. So 3-2 down on this group here. So this created a disruption and change, which then eventually, did the choppiness to the move, and then they kind of like piecemealed it back up. All right. So I ain't saying that that's going to happen again, but I do say that history repeats itself. That's for damn sure. All right. So inside here, but if we can't break that 3, more importantly, right, that 630.77, why I have to look and see exactly where we got on that overnight. 629.51. All right, so 629.51, we broke that this morning. Okay, that was on the overnight. We got down to 629. Now this low was 630.77. So we've come back from there now. All right, so that's my low. All right, 629.51, and that is on the overnight, okay? So 2-2 down here, and you'll see as we go. All right, so again, that's our magnitude right now. We're trying to get up. Looking from the upside, I'm looking at first of all, I just gonna go for yesterday's highs, all right, which was that number that I just told you there at 642.66. All right, where's the exhaustion risk? It's everywhere. Okay, it's everywhere. All right, it's just going to be everywhere. But we're not going to find out until we start pushing today. And right now they're doing some pushing. All right, so as we talk right now, we're getting up to 639.61. All right, so here we are now. Getting tight, getting better inside that day. All right, so we're back up into this area right here. All right, at 639, we're starting to go back to the highs here from that day. All right, and that day was 639.85. Okay, and we are trading at 639.62. All right, we're there right now. All right, at 639.85. All right, we're just slightly lower than that. All right, so if we're taking that move up, but if you notice from here back to there, that was a big move to the upside on that one to 642.99, and that gets us to the highs of Friday. All right, 642.66. All right. So we'll see where that happens from there. Let's take it back down here now, and watch the 4 hour. Okay, so we're starting to find some exhaustion risk at 641.51 because you're starting to get close to yesterday's highs. All right, so we'll see if they can push through this. There could be some run sheep run. But be careful with it, all right? Be careful with it, all right? And coming back inside here, you see what's cooking this morning, all right? And then we go look at the diamonds. You know what? I'm going to save the diamonds for last because then we'll go through the sectors. QQQ, same story, all right? Triple Qs, got the same business going on here, okay? We're going back up. We're going to go back up to the daily here on the triple Qs, all right? Exhaustion risk down to the downside for sure. We know that they've been moving down. All right. So this is the 222 back down. This is kind of what triggered. What I did not see, I was looking for an outsider, and we didn't get any outsiders. So now we're going to be looking for actionables inside. All right. So especially once we start to open, we'll look and see for these ones. All right. These 30s and 15s, they're not, they're really not driving the car. What's driving the car is for us is the quarter, it's the month, and it's the week, and even the daily. All right. So coming back down on this guy, going into this same thing that happened here on the 30th. Why is that not? Oh, sorry about that. All right. So right here, here we are again, July 31st. All right, going into August. All right, so 2-2 down on that one. Got all the way down to here. What was that low? That's Friday's lows were 561.57. All right, we went down to 557.43. 557.43. All right. So we broke this low altogether, the 3 down from there, right? And then we go to that high from that gap, which was 559, all right? So still hovering above there now, all right? So we're in this 567 area right now. Right here we are, right here, okay, and we're back up inside this bar right here, all right. So we'll see if anything transpires, and we'll watch what goes on, and then we'll go down to that 4 hour again and get a look-see here. So it's just been the move to the upside. You could watch the 60s as well. All right, so now we got an actionable inside on the overnights as we start to get a little bit closer to the opening. All right, so to the upside, I'm just going with magnitudes from dailies right now. All right, so if we get to 571 basically, then you would be taking day out. All right, and we're not that far away from right now, but we're still like $4 away. All right, so triple Qs, we'll see what happens. We're looking for that. We're looking for that spike, like we're going to see here. And the question is, can they hold these gains, these new gains that we got here to us this morning? That's and I ain't buying nothing. All right, ain't buying nothing. All right, we'll go to the diamonds, DIA. So again, exhaustion risk royal to the downside, right? Took out what, 6 months? Not quite. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe quite not there. Oh yeah. So we took out 5 months. All right, to the downside. Now we're going to look at this one here again. We're going to blow up this one here. All right. We got that same situation here. Going back down here was our disruption here on that stupid thing. All right, right here. We're back to July 31st again. This was the move to the downside. So I made a point to mark these off on the lows here. All right, so I'm thinking that possibilities we could still come down lower. All right. Now we might get this spike to the upside and then get that violent move back down again. All right. So just like I said, I'm being very careful here now. On the highs, on the diamonds on Friday was 457.50. All right, and right now we are trading at 455. We're only about $2 and change off from just getting closer. So we're getting closer to taking that day up. Fool's gold, man, fool's gold. All right, so same story here though with the disruption to the downside. All right, and we look at that low. Was 450.49, 450.49. So we're up $5 higher here. We'll wait and see what breaks there. All right. So continuation, and I'm kind of watching a little bit here as we start to get better. See, this one, we never really broke that much to the downside, right? We were still up at the highs here on this guy at 450.25. All right, so I'm looking at like my numbers for, I think, before we get this all said and done, I think we go back down to $433.40. All right, write that number down. That's going to be a matrix number for you. And then QQQs, my low coming back down is coming back down to this side. I'm thinking this we could still triangle all this out. All right. We're not done yet. All right. So 551 coming back down there. I'm at 551 even. All right. $551 is my thing. So where I think we can absolutely break down to. All right. So we'll see what the Qs want to do there. Yeah, I'll put it out there. SPY says, down here to the lows here, coming back down on this guy, all right, with the SPY. So my number coming back down would be 619.25. It seems like it's far away. It's not that far away, all right. So 619, all right, 619.25 for the SPY, 551 for the Qs, and 433.40 as we're rising up this morning. All right, so we'll see what happens there. All right, so there's your futures. I want to go back to and look at some of the, what we know what stocks are going to go up, right? Industrials, right? We know industrials been good. Look who's coming up here. All right, sorry. Why didn't it click over? Okay, XLI. There we go. All right, so here's XLI right now on our 4-hour, and we will get a flip at 8 o'clock, so be careful with that. All right, starting to come back down a little bit here. Industrials, they got moving there early, and then they puked it out, and then they had the wherewithal to come back. So still been coming. The buyers are kind of in control here right now. All right. But we know that what's above us is big problems. All right, so XLI 2-1 inside here right now, 160.40. We're just going to gauge it by the day right now, which would be 161.23. You're still about $1 away from there on XLI. Okay, we know that industrials are good. We know that discretionary should be good coming back up. So there you go, 2-2 up on your discretionary starting to look out. Look at this triangle out. All right, so moving back up here a little bit right now, and on your daily, you're going to have to get through 108.29. You're trading at 106.37. And Starbucks, there was something out on Starbucks this morning. Nothing here. Yeah, I thought there was something in there. Nothing in Starbucks. That's a discretionary stock. All right, I'm not going to talk about stocks. All right, Starbucks. That's in your discretionary group. I think XLP is itching to go up too. Better here now on the XLPs coming back up. XLP's already looking to take day. It's close here at 82.36, trading at 82.84. All right, so watch out for your Coca-Colas, your Pepsis, your Colgates. Colgate's in the news again this morning. All right, watch those. Watch them if they seem to start to move up. These stocks should be defensive. When the market's going down, these stocks should be coming up, and they haven't really been doing that. So we'll see what kind of transpires with these discretionary, with these with these staples. All right, who's coming? Who else is coming back to dinner, man? The utilities. Utilities are moving up very nicely now. All right, and they're put up that high at 46.12. We're trading at 45.83. This is the closest that I think seen going back up to yesterday's highs. All right. So XLU, you got your utilities starting to come back up, and then you got XLE, which is coming back down right now because the crude is kind of coming back. All right. So you get the 2-1 back inside here. They're just ones. This thing's been sitting for a while. All right. Watch that 4 hour. Watch that hour. Okay. And we'll see what starts to transpire there. XLK seems to be getting a little bit better here. I mean, Microsoft is down 30% for the year. 30%. Okay, how are they going to get that thing up? Grandpa, oh my God, you can't get him off the chair. All right, so you can't get him off of anything. All right, so the Mag 7 still not ready to go. I don't know what's going on with AI, but these guys seem to not have any money. All right, so we'll see what happens with them. We know. What do we know? What do we know to be true? We know that Cisco is good. I'll tell you that much. Here she comes running again. Here, 79.92, already back up to 80.27. 82.16 to take out the day. All right, you ain't going anywhere near their day, but we know that these are good. All right, Cisco and Marvel. I'm still going to just rant about these two because I think these two, look at, they're coming right back up again. Every time there's some kind of breakdown, Marvel and Cisco get their heads up. All right, I'm sticking with these two right now. All right, we got to buy these things on weakness, and now we had a nice move to the downside. All right. We got on Friday. Nobody wanted to go home with any stocks on Friday. Things were not good. All right, things are still not good. All right, so sit tight. All right, so XOK, you know, you're going to get some pockets of good, and then there's a lot of garbage. All right, so just be careful with it is what I got to say. All right, and what did I not talk about? XLB. XLBs are materials coming back up with our metals starting to come back up. All right, we'll see what gold's doing here. All right, gold coming back up here, closed at 414. It's up about $5 and change now, holding up fairly well. All right, that's your week. You're going to get another new week right inside here. All right, well, and that will start today, but then the new month will start on Wednesday. Okay, so you know that. All right, PSLV on your silver. I'm not going to go through too many, but this is it, right? Silver coming back down on the shooter down on the weekly, and now she's coming right back inside at 23.07. You are stuck inside handily, inside on the week. Looks like you're probably even handle inside day, 23.06. Close to taking the day up, but still stuck inside the week. All right. What did I not talk about? We talked about, let's talk about healthcare. Garbage. Okay, so hence the reason why the diamonds have been down so much is because of healthcare, which is really tied in, really tight with the financials. That's going to be the last one I'm going to finish with. These have been down heavy, all right? This is why the diamonds have been suffering so much, all right? So coming back here, man, big down day. I say a lot of exhaustion risk on these guys. So if there's ever a run sheep run, it might be these guys, but I think they're still garbage. All right, so we'll see what happens. It's already ran up now, and it's kind of come back inside. So without the health care and without the banks, the industrials and the discretionaries can't carry the whole load. All right, XLF is better now. Robinhood's up this morning. I saw that. That one's a cheapo still. Don't go chasing waterfalls. You're down heavy on the week. Look at this thing. I mean, do we have exhaustion risk to the downside? Yes, we have everywhere. All right. So this is what I was saying. All right. Fool's gold rally. We'll see what happens. All right. I'm going to leave it at that. My satellite stocks are a little bit better here this morning. Sats closed at 115.21, trading at 116 and a quarter right now. GSAT's backing off, and I can't say enough about Planet. But I still think it's got to come back into this. We can't trade the overnights. I mean, you can enter an order in, but somebody has to take the other side of your trade. All right. So this is Planet, one side here, 38, 31, 33. Look at this mess. Okay, don't go chasing anything, please. All right, we'll see what happens. I will definitely keep you guys up throughout the day today. Today's kind of be a good focus day. I think Wednesday is going to be another day, and guess what? We got a short week this week. All right, so we only got 4 days. We're gonna pack 5 days worth of business into 4 days. So it looks like today is the push. All right, and then we'll see if they can keep up. All right, be good.